Alright, so this one, continuing with Cygnus Loop, or I'm using it again, but this is the name of the image, Cygnus Loop. And I'm over here because I've got some stuff I'm going to show you. Because this is sort of like a follow-up to the Context Matters video, and it's based on a paper that I still remember that I wrote a while ago, back in college. Had a communications class, and we needed to write a paper on catharsis. It's actually kind of funny. I still remember I wrote it once, and I didn't really like it. It was kind of loose, kind of muddy. So I decided to rewrite it and really focus down on two examples of catharsis in movies that I had seen. I'm going to show you the clips from the two that I specifically reference in that. And I've just, even though it's been many years, I still remember these two moments because they are such a good juxtaposition. And I guess I should also quickly try to explain what catharsis is without checking on what the definition is. Forgive me for that. But a cathartic release, the idea there is whether it's in television, in movies, even in a book, in video games, in music. The idea of seeing somebody else achieve something, and even though that's their success, you still feel a sense of satisfaction from it. So it would be kind of like somebody who's constantly an underdog seeing a movie where an underdog achieves something great. It's like, well, even though, yes, obviously, if it's a movie, it's all scripted, but still is you can identify with the underdog character there and see that, well, it is still possible. Something can still good happen. I can still become a success. So things like that. And in fact, this first clip is in some ways a lot like that. This is from Back to the Future. It's near the end, so yes, it is by its nature going to be spoiling, but watch the movie. Go ahead, stop this video, go watch the movie. It's a good movie. So in this, we have, you know what? Give me one moment, because I can't remember her name, and I want to find out. Lorraine, that's the name I could never remember for whatever reason. So in this clip, we don't see her, but she is like in the scene. She's just not in the clip I cut out. And by the way, no audio. I'm not bothering with that. Just the video. But we've got George and Biff, and Lorraine is just out of camera view at the moment. So there's Biff, your basically stereotypical kind of bully jock-ish guy, and nope, sorry, screwed that up. Hit the wrong. Everything doing wrong. So this is Biff. He's bully who potentially because he and George here are in high school together. Potentially, at least I know from me, I had a lot of classmates from elementary school to middle school to high school. So potentially, he's been bullying George. Biff has been bullying George for many years. And George has probably been taking it the entire time. He is not that confident, not even all that assertive, while Biff is aggressive. He's not even just assertive. He's fully aggressive. He's a jerk. And right now he's actually, well, he was just trying to take advantage of Lorraine, who is, as I recall, currently on the ground next to the car that Biff is against. But Biff is also holding George's arm, like twisted behind him, to keep him down, because George tried to intervene, but Biff wasn't going to have any of that, because it's like, what are you doing? I'm bigger than you, I'm stronger than you, I don't care about you. So George is down there, and George is really upset because he does have feelings for Lorraine. In the movie, they do eventually get married. Well, not within the movie, but the whole setup is they need to get married. And it's like he wants to protect her. And he's being held down, and he's finally having enough, because Biff is laughing, which is just perfect. I mean, you can even see there how he's still kind of smiling, the actor's still kind of smiling, kind of laughing. It makes you really hate Biff even more. It's very well crafted, this scene. It really is. And George is just, because he's laughing at Lorraine, who just fell because she, as I recall, tried to intervene to actually help George with stopping Biff as well. And he's just laughing because it's like, I can just do whatever I want. He doesn't matter. I can do whatever I want to. Biff is a bad guy. But George here, it's like he's finally had enough. You saw him clenching his fist. And what's going to happen technically doesn't make any sense, but go with it anyway. Winds up and punches Biff, and knocks him out, and spins him around. This doesn't make sense. I'm sorry. George is a weakling. He is. And I say that as a weakling myself. There is no way somebody like Biff, who is definitely, he is better built for strength than George is. I'm like, George is like 90-pound weakling kind of guy. Biff would have a good deal of weight on him, is definitely more muscular, definitely has better developed muscles, and would be much heavier than George. George with one punch spins him around? I don't think so. Knocking him out maybe if Biff has a glass jaw, but even that, it's more the scene has been carefully constructed there to really amplify the cathartic release. That George, the underdog, not only is finally standing up for himself, finally is acting with confidence in that way, and actually a moment later when how he responds to Lorraine and asks her, "Are you all right?" and then they go, he has his confidence there, but just standing up for himself, defending her. All that, this is all to heighten this. It's like he's finally made this great achievement here by retaliating against Biff, knocking him out, spinning him around, even though physically it doesn't make much sense. But there's something else about this scene that is important, because you can like George here, because he protected himself, he protected her. Biff is dealt with, and it's done. It's done. That is not the case in this scene from Star Trek First Contact, and it's about halfway through the film. So they're in the holodeck, and as you can see, he's using a Tommy gun, so a submachine gun, to attack this Borg. And he doesn't stop attacking him. And that's actually why I have these set up a little differently. So this is the end of the clip that I pulled out of the movie. And it, sorry, my brain just turned off a little bit. But I have it set up to freeze on this, because what is he doing? Well, he was rushing up to continue attacking the Borg that is dead and just flat on its back on a table. He wants to keep attacking it. Why? He already killed it. And it's only because of Lily here, who runs up to stop him, that he doesn't continue to attack. Now, the Borg, especially if you know their introduction and all the episodes in TNG, you know they are essentially the most lethal enemy that have ever been introduced in Star Trek. Although I think you could say that with First Contact and on, their lethality definitely drops. I'm sorry, but it's true. It is true. This was like the beginning of the end of the Borg. But anyway, and well, here, I'll explain that, because I know a lot of people love First Contact. Initially, the Borg were just hyper lethal because they were so focused on one thing: assimilation. You resist, they destroy you. But you start seeing a trend with First Contact of humanizing them. So they stop being just about assimilation. They stop just, we'll kill you if you refuse to assimilate. And Voyager takes that even further. But still, the point I'm actually trying to make is that with this, they are such a clear enemy that, restarting this clip, Picard attacking, can I get another one long shot there? Picard attacking would give you that cathartic release, because they have been chased through the ship. He is without his weapon, and even then it's a phaser. The Borg adapt to those, so it's ineffective. But now Picard, despite being cornered with two of these very, very lethal enemies there hunting him down, he is still able to find a way to defeat them. He is an underdog here, but he succeeds in defeating them. This should be a cathartic moment. This should be just like George standing up to Biff. But it's not. It is not a cathartic release here, because it's being twisted by what happens very shortly here, starting with this. And it continues. He's yelling. He is screaming. It's a primal thing, because he is angry and he hates the Borg. This is very different from basically everyone else in the movie that are trying to deal with the Borg. It's much more, no, we need to defeat them because they're really lethal and they're trying to kill us. So it's more about survival. This is not survival. All right? What he is doing here is not about survival. Right? He is trying to hurt them. He is angry at them. He hates them. Okay? more so than just a normal soldier. And there's, of course, a reason why, and that is explained in the movie, that they at one point had assimilated him. And that kind of violation, it really has still left scars on him despite it being many years. And it's now like he's facing them. In fact, in the start of the movie, it even points out that he and the Enterprise E are not invited in, not brought in to confront a Borg cube heading towards Earth because there's concern that, having once been assimilated, he may introduce an unstable element. It's been a while since I watched the movie. The line is something like that. And here we kind of see that, yeah, you are unstable in this. And it goes beyond just this. It's not only that he's yelling, it's this anger and hatred there, especially since it's very reasonable that at this point the Borg is either dead or dying. Right? Because there's some movement here. It might just be, the falling back that Hollywood does whenever you get shot by bullets. But look, definitely here, the body's relaxing, so dead. No longer a threat, and yet runs up to continue attacking. Putting it another way, these are not the actions of a Starfleet captain. They aren't. He is supposed to be a paragon of virtue. He is supposed to be in control of himself. He attacked the Borg in accord with his duty. He continued to attack the Borg despite it probably already being dead. Like, he kept firing at it, which would technically constitute mutilating the body. But okay, you know what? Maybe we can excuse that as the Borg are very resilient. Okay, maybe we can go with that. They yell. No, not really. That is exposing his emotional state, that he is very upset, he's angry, and he's hateful of these things. But then what he's doing here, where he runs up to continue attacking, hitting him with the butt of the gun if he wasn't stopped by Lily. Okay. This definitely is... he's trying to mutilate the body. That's exactly what he's trying to do here. He's trying to mutilate the Borg. Potentially also him continuing to fire. Let's see if I can... and not easily anyway. I was like, even here, it's possible that he's done enough damage for the Borg to be dead. So it's like, even at this moment, he could have stopped. He's mutilating the body. He wants to because he wants to hurt them, as he had been hurt. And yeah, I'll just let that run on to the end. This is not a good guy. You're actually, even though this should be a cathartic release, because of it continuing the violence. This would be like if George started beating on Biff when he was on the ground. Everyone would reject that. Nobody would like George. Nobody's supposed to like Picard in this moment. And that's very intentional. The context of it, which is why this is a follow-up to the Context Matters video, the context of it is it's trying to tell you so much about this character here. Because this is very out of character for Picard. But as the movie continues, this is the character of Picard that we're getting in the movie. Because he hates them. He wants to hurt them because he was once hurt by them. And that's causing him to make bad decisions and do things that he should be ashamed of. They never really do anything with that. I mean, if it were the television show, they could. But when the movie ends, the movie ends. Anyway, yeah, so I just wanted to give those two examples of where context very much matters. Because it allows you to learn a lot more about these characters. Or at least get an emotional payoff that you want. I mean, you learn about George. He just wants to protect himself, and he finally has a good enough reason to protect himself and to protect Lorraine. And once that's satisfied, Biff is down. He's good. Get Lorraine up. Let's go into that dance. But here, Picard had to keep going. And, yeah. So context, it matters. And I guess I could also add, because of the whole mutilation here, since I'm pretty sure I do talk about it in the video, I definitely have it in the article, that in one of my books, I do take the violence up a bit in one battle because I have a character mutilate others to show he's evil. I'm not saying Picard is evil, but he is a bad guy here. He's not a good guy by what he's doing here. But that mutilation, that taking that violence, because you expect him to be violent towards a Borg, he needs to kill them, he needs to stop them. But by going further, you're showing more. You're showing more about the character. Okay, I'm certain that I've ranted enough, that I've rambled enough, and I've probably beaten a dead horse a few times as well. So stop here, and we'll see you next time.